Daddy, help me. Steve, where are you?
Hello, and welcome to episode 39 of Voices in the Static, a Silent Hill fan podcast. My name is Whitney, and I'm a longtime fan of Konami's survival horror series, and the owner of the fan site, SilentHillHistoricalSociety.com, which I haven't updated in years, except when I make a new podcast episode, like the one I'm recording now. Anyway, I don't know if my dear listeners have heard the news, but Silent Hill is back, baby! Yeah! Oh,
it's back.
And I'm getting a drink from my dad. Thank you. All right.
Phase 4 announced or something, whatever they want to call it.
I just got a celebratory gin and tonic. So
SHU, the Silent Hill Universe Phase 4.
Yep.
The end of the credits of the Silent Hill 2 remake. They'll tease Alessa's gathering the Infinity Stones or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so those 10 games the rumor mill has promised for years now were like somehow true? I know it's shocking. I was pretty shocked. Well, okay, it's not 10. It's more like 3. Well, does Silent Hill Ascension count as a game?
We don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a streaming show, but whatever. I'm just going to say 4. There's 4 new games coming and a new movie with Christoph Gans directing again. Oh man, there is so much to discuss, and I'm like 2 weeks late already. If I actually get this up by Wednesday, that is. So I'm sorry, guys. Hard getting everyone together. Well, despite the delay, my excitement has not wavered, and thankfully, I have my friends and fellow Silent Hill fans here with me today to gush or, hey, maybe rant, I don't know, about the news. If my Twitter timeline after the transmission was a good barometer of fan reactions? Probably not. But before we dive in, why don't you guys all introduce yourselves? Someone go first.
I'm Kyle. I'm a freelance writer, and I've been on this podcast many times, and yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm October. I'm an artist and senior editor for Rely on Horror.
Hello, I'm Amy. I am an artist and translator, and I run SilentHillCommunity.com, which is back up.
And I am William. I am the editor-in-chief of Rely on Horror, and I also contribute to CG Magazine.
Hi, I'm CJ. I am formerly of Rely on Horror, and now I do PR for video games.
You're very fancy. Moving on up in the world, CJ. Hey guys, Editor Whitney here. I just want to give a quick recommendation and a spoiler warning for the episode. If you are listening to this podcast, I highly recommend checking out the video version I uploaded over on my Whitney Plays YouTube channel, as I've added a lot of visuals to this episode during the discussions, hence why it took me so long to edit this sucker. If you want to go into Silent Hill 2 Remake blind, I suggest skipping both our Silent Hill 2 movie discussion and the Bloober Remake discussion, as major plot points are either referenced or heavily discussed. I will give another warning and timestamp to skip to when we reach these topics. Okay, enjoy the episode. Okay. So, like I mentioned, there's a lot to discuss here. On the 16th, Konami remembered, or maybe in the JP account's case, they maybe reset their password to the official Silent Hill Twitter accounts. And they teased that they had some, quote, updates for the Silent Hill series that would be revealed during a Silent Hill transmission on October 19th. And collectively, the fandom became Michael Scott from The Office.
Coming through an air duct. Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody calm down. No, Michael, no.
It was nice to finally have the series trending thanks to some actual official news. Still, I don't know about you all, but a small part of me was still kind of expected to be disappointed with maybe the announcement of some NFTs, Silent Hill 3 Pachi slot.
Honestly, one of the best things about, maybe the best thing about all of this is that certain people do not control the entire discourse of Silent Hill leaks anymore. I am so relieved.
Or, maybe even another limited edition skate deck collection. Thankfully, it was none of those. Well, skate decks did appear, but it was the ones they were already selling on the official Konami shop.
It was just a reminder.
Yeah. Apparently, they still haven't sold out of their limited decks. So you guys still have a chance if you want one.
Oh boy.
Side note, the skate decks are no longer available as of November 4th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry this took me so long to edit, but in my defense, these skate decks have been available for months now. It was teaser trailers for 4 games in the works, well, maybe 3 games and a show, maybe, info on a movie, and some delightful new statues. I was gonna go in the order of the transmission releases, but there isn't a lot to say about anything other than the remake because they were vague as hell. So I figured we'll just kind of talk quickly through those other teases, since there's not a lot to them. So we're going to wait to discuss the remake stuff, since that's kind of the meat of the reveal, even though it was the first thing they showed. The first teaser trailer was for something called Silent Hill Townfall. It's a collaboration between Annapurna Interactive, based in LA, and No Code in Scotland. The teaser consisted of like a faceless interview asking someone why they were here, in Silent Hill, I assume, with images of the ocean and then zooming in on a portable TV sitting on a desk. The portable TV turned on with static and blurry images flashing on the screen. It was hard to make out. A lot was shown, but there was some sort of fleshy-looking bipedal monster, the inside of a house, a foggy street. There's also an area with a lot of pipes and an orangey glow, like maybe a boiler room or a sewer, I don't know. And one of the final images shown was a close-up of a black man in glasses, so maybe he was the one being interviewed. And the interview was this. It was,
why are you here? No, in this place, why are you here? You're to be punished. That's good, I like it. You know what, I think you're right. I think we've done something so awful that we are stuck here in this place, being judged by these people. But for you, I think it's more than that. I think you're here for some other reason. And I don't want to be anywhere near you when you figure that out.
So there was also a little bit more from the developers after the teaser, but again, it's pretty vague. The creative director of No Code working on Townfall says it's a new title to the series that both respects the source material, but also does something a little bit different with it, and the teaser trailer is just the beginning, and they can't show more just yet, but they're working hard and will come back in the new year to show more. Fans also found that when you viewed the teaser trailer through a spectrogram, at approximately 52 seconds in, there is a hidden text message that read, "Whatever heart this town had has now stopped." I'm interested, of course, but there wasn't a lot really shown to form any concrete opinions. We don't even know what kind of game it will be. I'm not familiar with No Code's work, but they've gotten rave reviews for both Observation and Stories Untold. I haven't played either myself. Have you guys?
Nope.
Nope.
Was that something you did, CJ?
I'm trying to remember. There's so many game announcements. I'm trying to remember what their past works
Well,
were.
Observation was a sci-fi thriller where you were uncovering what happened on some sort of space station. and you assume the role of their artificial intelligence. So you're not on the station, but you are the station itself. So you were like this artificial intelligence, and I guess you interacted with characters in that aspect. And then the Stories Untold.
That's the one I played, yeah. Okay, so I did play Stories Untold.
Episodic horror adventure puzzle game. I know one of them was a text adventure, and they were set in the 80s?
Yeah, it was very, like, the opening is very, like, Stranger Things. Like, it's very intentional kind of game like that.
So I don't know if we can assume that we'll get more of like a puzzle adventure type of thing from this group. I went to their website and they say that Townfall is their most ambitious title yet, and it has a team twice the size of either Observation and Stories Untold. But other than that, I don't really know what I can say about this.
It's good. I have a feeling that this is the much rumored like short story collection thing.
Is that the one that was supposed to be like text messages?
No,
No, I don't think it's that one. I think it's supposed to be like, what's a good? I think it's supposed to be like an anthology series of some sort. I'm trying to think of like a good parallel. But if I were to guess, admittedly, I don't really like the name.
You don't like Townfall? Townfall?
Like, I get it. The town is, you know what I mean? Like, I see what you did there. But I'm going to put this out here and just say, like, I'm guessing this is the anthology game that was also rumored of some sort. And especially because wasn't Stories Untold anthology, CJ? Didn't you just say that?
I believe it was, yeah.
Okay, so that would make sense. And like Annapurna kind of like does weird little ambitious titles like that. So
it is for experimental adventures, quote unquote,
yeah, so that I think that's just my prediction. I don't really have any opinion on it, just because like what can you say?
I mean, the visuals look like it could be Silent Hill with the portable CBT TV. That's cool.
It's very much the aesthetic of Stories Untold as well. Like a lot of the games in that collection were just like you're sitting in front of electronics and tinkering with them, and then you're hearing a story or playing a story out.
Yeah, I was reminded of Origins also.
Okay, so maybe like that portable TV is something that you used to play through the game. Maybe we'll find out more.
Something happens where like the video comes on and it starts telling the story, and then you go inside that story, almost like a Twilight Zone thing. Yeah,
maybe something like that. The next teaser was for Silent Hill Ascension by Genvid, Bad Robot Games, Behavior, DJ2 Entertainment. It's a live, real-time interactive series where millions of fans will watch together as the story unfolds. You can change its outcomes and even be part of the scenes somehow. There's no reset button. The decisions you make mean life or death in the story. It's your chance to shape Silent Hill canon forever. And the tagline is, face your trauma together. The Genvid Twitter also says, it is an interactive streaming series where the entire community shapes the canon of Silent Hill, available, I think, 24/7 in 2023. I don't know.
Did anyone go to Ascension.com yet?
Yeah, I did. There's nothing. It's basically the trailer, and you can sign up for updates from if you give them your email. They showed messages from people like they were in a chat room discussing saving someone named Amina. There was something approaching. People were getting stressed out, saying they need to run. And then there was this shot of this big creature in armor wielding this staff or spear thing, and that was it.
I think it's gonna be like the reality show that was in Halloween Resurrection, where everyone's just watching stuff going on.
There's actually games already like this.
Yeah.
Like there's a Facebook Walking Dead game that I think is going on right now. That's one. I don't know what you call these, but it's like it's basically like millions of people can like influence in air quotes the
Which
narrative.
Plays Pokemon, but it's Silent Hill.
It's sort of like that, but it's also like like usually like if I recall correct, I can't remember the name of the Walking Dead game, but you do things like you can like farm supplies, and then that can impact the characters and the narrative, and blah blah blah. And
were those like 24/7, like constantly on, or was it like set times that people would join?
I think that there's like a time limit that I believe that like, so like if like the first episode came out in September, you have until the next one, which we'll say it comes out in November, to do things to impact the story. So
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what these aren't ARGs, are they, CJ? That's
I
not
think
what this is.
there's an ARG. No, there's an ARG for the previous game that we talked about,
Okay.
which was the the text and stuff like that. But this one, I don't think there's an ARG yet. It's hard to keep track. There's so many. But
Yeah.
it's basically like it's like you said. It's one of those interactive narrative things. Don't know how it's going to be
Like,
structured.
Is it going to be
could be
like that
totally unique.
Netflix thing, the Bandersnatch?
No.
For all we know, it could play like that, but it's going to be more like everyone has an impact on where the story goes.
I just
And
see
this-
this getting kind of like a clusterfuck, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like a mess.
It's one of those things that like developers have been trying to like make happen for a
Yeah.
while, and as Regina George once said, stop trying to make it happen. But I guess Konami's gonna try and make it happen. I don't know.
What surprised me was seeing J.J. Abrams. I'm like, what?
Oh, that was one of my favorite parts of the whole stream. That J.J. Abrams quote was maybe the most "I have never heard of whatever this is" quote I have ever seen.
To be fair, J.J. Abrams, he is a pretty big gamer fan. Like
Pretty big.
he announces a lot of video game projects that never pan out. But
Him and Steven Spielberg know what video games are. They've never in their life played one, but they know they're famous.
they love Portal. Okay.
Bullshit. If he loved Portal, that movie would have come out a decade ago. That quote was so like, "This property is famous and beloved. I'm very proud to be a part of it. Not proud enough to show up, but here's a quote." I don't know. There was something really dismissive about it.
It was just text to screen. He wasn't even giving like a video message, what like a lot of the other devs and stuff were doing during this transmission.
Even Chris Pratt could show up for the Mario announcement, and he looked check out too.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this, because it's probably just going to be. I've never played one of these. I think there's I don't know if The Walking Dead. I know I keep bringing that one up, but that's like the only one I know of. But like, I don't really know if these ever quite pan out so well. And like, it might be more like Bandersnatch, like you said, Whitney, but I do think it's probably going to be like the Walking Dead thing, because it's going to be like a Facebook nonsense thing. Who knows?
I mean, and behavior is involved too. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, is this like multiplayer? But it's like not really. It's just you're watching something, and I don't know.
They're probably just handling the interactive elements.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna reserve judgment until I actually play it or watch it or whatever. But from what I've seen so far, it doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in, and it doesn't really feel like an idea that fits well with the Silent Hill universe.
It's a shame it was so vague too. It's like I have no idea what this is supposed to be.
Like, hasn't the community been changing the canon of the series anyway? Do we need like a game or a project that does that?
Amy, what were you saying?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing and I'm like, what the hell was that? I still don't know.
Yeah, and then I went to the site and I'm like, their website's not helping me understand what this is.
And I still don't know.
I think for this, I'm curious to try it, but I think I might prefer or enjoy it more once it's done and I can go, okay, I'm going to watch this like a TV show.
Yeah, I don't see myself participating just because it's 24/7 and I just have people are going to troll the shit out of it too. It's probably not going to be as fun as they think it's going to be.
So the good thing about these kind of like, oh, the audience changes the direction of the series, that is done within like a realm of feasibility. Like they will have pre-written like, okay, they'll go this way or this way or this way. And it'll be
It's your own
minor.
adventure.
Yeah. It'll probably be minor.
It's not going to be something like that's just like one of those like talking points where they say it can go anywhere. Like, no, it can't. It can go within like it can go between these three predetermined paths that we've made, you know,
and are ready to do.
Okay, so we're all kind of like in the same like That's a thing that's happening. Okay.
Definitely the one that I'm least interested in.
Yeah, honestly, me too. It's just
Same.
because it's like I like the single player experience of Silent Hill games because I mean you play on your own time, and this being like a group effort, it just does not interest me.
Like, you're not interested in like Pyramid Head flossing or something like that?
Actually, that would be pretty hilarious.
Or the Metal Gear Survive monster that they put in the trailer.
Yeah, the monster didn't even look. It didn't scream Silent Hill to me. I'm trying not to be judgy, but when I saw it, I did not think that is a Silent Hill creature. I thought, oh, that's some sort of fantasy.
Yeah, it looks like a
thing.
Silent Hill creature as designed by Square Enix's toy department.
Yeah, because like there was the armor on the shoulders, and it had a
Yeah.
weird kind of a tentacly head, I guess. And then
Yeah.
there was that weird staff spear thing, and it's like this
I
looks
would-
more
I-
mythical.
I would absolutely love to see Tetsuya Nomura try to design his take on Pyramid Head.
Lots
God,
of
it
lots
was
of
a
zippers, zippers everywhere. Okay, and the last game we were left with a teaser. This is at the very end of the transmission. We didn't even get anything really from the developers themselves, as with the other kind of game teasers. It was just the teaser, and it was for Silent Hill F, and it's a new game set in 1960s Japan by Ryoki Shi 07. I don't know if I said that right. The visual novel writer behind the Hirogashi When They Cry and Umineko series. The game is being developed by the Taiwan-based game studio Neoboards Entertainment. There wasn't gameplay footage, but they put together this like creepy concept with like CG animation. And essentially we see a Japanese schoolgirl staring at some red flowers, then walking down a damp street in Japan, dragging this metal pipe while some sort of red fungus kind of tangles over the buildings and objects. The girl later appears disheveled. Her uniform is torn and bloody. She's holding her right arm like she was injured. She's now barefoot. The fungus continues to spread, and its tendrils reach out and like wrap around the girl's arms and ankles. And you can see it's leaving these black marks when it touches her skin. She sort of pulls out of it, but it's clear that, you know, the fungus is catching up to her. And at the end of the teaser, we see the girl again now, but she's sitting on this bed of flowers floating on a body of water. And we see body parts kind of float on the surface, and holes appear on the skin, and then flowers begin to grow from them and bloom. On the girl, more flowers are blooming all over her body, her head, her back, her arms. And the camera then focuses on her face, and we see her basically shed a single tear, and then her entire face just slips off, and we gaze into a big fat hole in her head. And it kind of reminded me of Sarah Palmer in Twin Peaks season 3, but more gruesome. Anyway, it was pretty gross, and if you suffer from trypophobia, you definitely will not like the clusters of holes that appeared on the human flesh before the flowers grew. It was kind of creepy. Out of all the new games they showed during this teaser, I think I was most excited to see where this one goes.
Same.
I'm interested to see how a place in Japan will connect to an American town years before the incident with Alessa. I mean, who knows if it's really in Japan? It could be like she's in America, but for some reason her other world is taking the form of a Japanese village in the 60s. You know, it could be
we
like
already know that
an
the
immigrant
town
or something.
reconfigures itself, so.
Mhm.
Has anyone played the Higurashi games? I know they have a really good reputation.
No, I just know they're super long visual novels.
I think the main reason why this one is so exciting though is because I mean, I think it's safe to say that most people love the old Silent Hills, especially because of the story, and it sounds like they've got a really good writer behind this one, and that's half in the trailer. The artwork was phenomenal. admittedly, and I don't want to jump on this too much. The studio making it hasn't really produced bangers.
I would, in their defense, though, posit that for anybody that doesn't know, Neobards is probably best known.
Is it Reverse?
They made Resident Evil Reverse, which just released. You can read our review on Rely on Horror, where I gave it a 1.
It's not very fun.
Yeah, it sucks ass. But they also made Resident Evil Resistance, which, while not great, showed a lot of promise.
Yeah.
And they've also done basically every remaster Capcom's done in like the last decade. They did like the Devil May Cry 1 through 4 remasters, all that stuff, Onimusha. But like they've never gotten to do something on their own, I don't think, that was like their game as opposed to just like following directions from Capcom.
And they also I also sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
No, you go.
I also think on your point that some of those Resident Evil projects, like I don't know how you make a Resident Evil multiplayer shooter good to begin with, you know? Like I kind of like you could, but I'm saying like it was kind of like a project that seemed like corporate was just telling them make this and make it under these circumstances.
I mean, for anybody that hasn't played Reverse is just an asset flip, and it's like one of the laziest games. Like I don't like calling games lazy, but like there is no new content in it. Everything is just ripped from older Resident Evil games, and it's just like and not in like it's a celebration kind of way. It's like these are animations from RE6 kind of way, like just ripped and plopped. So I'm excited to see this team do something that clearly isn't them, being given the smallest budget in the world and being told by executives, make this for us. This game feels exciting and fresh, and I agree with everyone else here. It's the thing I'm most interested in because of these new games. It's the only one that feels like an actual new numbered entry, if that makes sense.
And it also something. Go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
No, I was saying, I was agreeing that they have more ability to be creative with it.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about this is I remember years ago Tom Hewlett said like Silent Hill isn't just like Rust and Pyramid Head and nurses, and that's very true. And what I liked especially about this is like the whole like body horror and flower element. Like it reminded me a lot of, it's like the spirit of Silent Hill without just being here's more rust and fences. You know what I mean? Like it was actually really exciting. Like I'm really looking forward to this one a lot, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like a real game and not desperately trying to cling on to Silent Hill 2. Yeah. And that's not a comment on the remake, but like I think everyone would agree a big problem that the Western Silent Hill games is they all really wanted to be Silent Hill 2. And this game feels like it doesn't really want to be Silent Hill at all, and I find that exciting.
I like the idea of Siren coming back, but better.
I was just gonna say it actually reminds me of like the Siren games, or maybe even Fatal Frame. It could just be aesthetics of a young Japanese schoolgirl going through some haunted shit, but it's new, and I am looking forward to that. And given we weren't given a lot for the other games, this, even though it wasn't gameplay footage, their simple teaser really told a lot more than just circling vague buzzwords that sound like a Silent Hill game that we were getting from the other games.
Yeah, I think to me the setting and the super weird like Annihilation-esque body horror were two of the strongest aspects for me, and I love that it's set in the country that originated the IP. I think for me, Silent Hill at its heart has always been an Eastern interpretation of Western horror. And I think no matter the quality of the Western teams that have worked on it, it's a point of view thing. It's a perspective thing that you can't really replicate. You can try to externally replicate it like, trauma and, the town is based on people's fears, but that's sort of a very sort of rough approximation. But it'll be interesting to see how the series works when it's actually set in the East. And speaking to your point, Whitney, about maybe it's someone's, maybe it's actually in Silent Hill, but someone's interpretation is, Japan in the 60s. I think it's a great idea to just cut ties with the past and just set it in Japan. and not necessarily be bound by the folklore that we already know, because that's, in a way, that's kind of what's been causing some of those problems, is we're so familiar and comfortable with what we already know, and it has to like build on that. I like the idea of something like Silent Hill Past Life, where it's just something brand new.
Well, maybe what we'll find out with this game is what's going on in this American town is also something that goes on in other towns and other countries.
Totally.
A similar sort of darkness or whatnot that
Infection that Silent Hill has, it
Yeah,
may
so it's
not be
not-
bound just to that town, but it also might not necessarily be something that has been contracted from the original Silent Hill. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like someone got the cold in Silent Hill and then flew over to Japan in the 60s and gave it to that town,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
One thing I heard about the writer Ryukishi is that they enjoy like talking about the dark aspects of like politics and history.
Mm-hmm.
So set in the 60s, I could see that being relevant to potentially where the story's going. If if it's like a Japanese immigrant in America, that could be partially related.
That's a really good, because this would be this would be very post like the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Maybe
like
the fungus
that could-
is like a
Part of the
relates
things
to
you
that.
see in the trailer,
All trauma.
aside from the tendrils, is that actually is the flower is a red spider lily, which is used in Japan for like funerals and like on the graves of dead people.
See, like, yeah. Also, I just want to say the art direction is super fucking good.
Yeah.
It looks like this game just look. This one just like there was a bit of confidence to it, and it feels like Silent Hill while also being way different. And I think that's what's really exciting about it.
Yeah, without looking anything like it, it still feels like it.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
this the one where the Sakura monster is appearing?
So that's the, not to give anyone undue attention, but the leak, rumor mill, whatever you want to call it, is that Sakura is tied to this, that Sakura is the short message that leaked because of Korean ratings board, and that is some sort of PT-esque demo for this that is connected, but not necessarily the actual story of the game.
And Ito was supposed to have designed the Sakura monster, right?
It's very, very similar to a tweet he made a couple years ago where he liked the idea of designing a creature around sakura trees and cherry blossoms. And then we get this leak of a creature that is a cherry blossom monster made out of Post-it notes. So I think it looks pretty clear.
And then on top of that, the actress or the model, whatever, who was identified from the short message screenshots, people were finding her on Twitter. Nothing's come out about that, as far as I know. Like, she hasn't revealed anything in particular, and we haven't gotten any kind of press release or any more information on that. So I'm guessing that's something that is still too early to even talk about.
Yeah, because the trailer wasn't gameplay footage; it was all like pre-rendered.
Yeah, it's pre-rendered.
Yeah, so this might be far off. Like this might be the Silent Hill 5 at the end of all these other games coming out. Like this might be the one this might be the new mainline game.
Yeah, CJ's point about when it takes place has got me really thinking now. Like, this would be Japan with like American occupation too.
Cool.
Like, there's a lot of really cool story potential for this one.
Yeah, so
I think everybody's ready for something like that especially after the sort of contrived stuff of the past. If you really get in, dig in deep, I think history is one of the things the Silent Hill series has used to great effect. Whether it's the witches on a blurb on a tombstone in 2 or Wish House in 4. There's this like, it doesn't impact the game directly, but it's this previous history that the game draws from and sets this world in.
Yeah, and just to throw it out there, I'm not saying I believe this. I've seen people theorizing that because of the flower motif, this game might be in some way an origin story for White Claudia. I don't know why I said it weird like that, but
okay. I mean, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's like the least interesting interpretation of what was shown. Oh, it's something from before. That's all we could think of.
Yeah.
At the post credits, Kaufman picks it up.
Ooh,
he picks it up and it looks just like Harry and his wife picking up Cheryl.
Yeah,
it's like the exact same framing.
And then Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, this is going to sound completely random. What I want from Silent Hill F is the Star Wars Andor of Silent Hill. I want something that's almost unrecognizably Silent Hill, so we can get something new and interesting and different that doesn't have to be tied to 20 years of fan theories and lore buildup and all this shit where people can just dismiss the game because it forgot some vague, obscure, weird thing or it didn't fit in with their theory. I want something weird and new and different and exciting.
Yeah, that's another good point because, like I said before, if you set it in Japan, if you set it in the 60s, there's no connective tissue, at least on the surface, to what's come before. So, fans can't pick it apart and go, oh, well, it doesn't take place at the same time. Boom. You already have a get-out-of-jail-free card. I mean, you still have to make a good story. You still have to make a good game.
Excuse me, where's the boiler explosion?
A wizard did it.
All right.
Whenever you see something that doesn't connect in Silent Hill, a wizard did it.
Yes, agreed. Outside of the movie and the other teaser games, they also announced some merchandise. I sobbed from my wallet because Konami actually showed that they're making statues of protagonists, and I couldn't fucking believe it. They're finally releasing. So about 6 years ago, they showed off a prototype for the Pyramid Head with a spear. Another statue similar to the Pyramid Head that they did back in 2013. I didn't think that thing was ever going to come out, but now it is. And it's going to go on sale starting November 1st. It's going to retail for 42,000 yen, and it's going to release sometime between March and May 2023 in Japan. So pre-orders are going up on November 1st over on the brand new Sweet Factory website operated by Gecko, and the website is en.sweetfactory-store.com, which has all the official Silent Hill goods, including some stuff from the Konami shop. Konami's also answering my prayers by releasing a 1/6 scale James Sunderland and Maria polystone polyurethane statues sometime in 2023. So it's probably going to be much heavier than their previously released PVC statues. I think the Studio Oxmox Silent Hill 2 statue I have with the James and Bubblehead Nurse, Konami style, released in 2001. It's a similar material and it's pretty heavy. No price for either, but I hope they won't be more than the Red Pyramid thing one. Both statues seem to be of the original characters' designs and not the remake, given the presence of the patches on James's jacket and his gray striped polo. James stands on some broken asphalt next to some health drinks, and he will apparently come with a handgun, wooden plank, steel pipe, and great knife, which can be held in his right hand. Maria's base is reminiscent of Rosewater Park, and she also comes with another interchangeable hand to hold the revolver she uses in the Born from a Wish scenario. One of the biggest surprises, however, was the announcement of the ABS PVC Silent Hill 2 Inu and 1/6 scale coin bank statue, which depicts Mira at the console. I screamed and scared everyone in my Discord chat when it appeared on screen. I was so excited. It is so cute. No price, but there's plans for a release sometime in 2023. So they're putting out merch that's not just Red Pyramid thing, Nurses and Robbie.
Yes.
Hallelujah. I swear. Again, skate decks are still available, along with some new hats, pins, Welcome to Silent Hill sign, a Mira dog plush, and a new t-shirt. All are currently on sale At the Konami shop, I ordered the Mira pin, and I got it within a couple days. The Mira plush is still on pre-order, though, so you're going to have to wait for that. Don't forget to use my affiliate code, Kemi_row, to get 20% off on some of the items. So, there's also some new 1/6 scale, fully articulated figures of Red Pyramid Thing and the Bubblehead Nurse coming out by Iconic Studios in Q4 2023. So basically, they're just, you can pose them. It's Red Pyramid Thing is going to go for about $289, and Bubblehead Nurse is $249. I'm personally not going to get them because I am tired of these characters. There's also the Good Smile Company Pop-Up Parade Bubblehead Nurse. It's one of the more affordable pieces shown, being only $34. Figures about 17 to 18 centimeters, which are around 6.5 to 7 inches. And finally, from Bedrock Collectibles, there is a Red Pyramid Thing Maria Elevator Chase diorama, which is very intriguing. No price point yet, but the official site says it will be up for pre-order this year. There will be a full reveal from the Bedrock Collectibles website later, and it will release sometime, and you guessed it, 2023. So, we all know that Whitney's probably going to buy some of this shit. Are you guys planning on buying any of it?
Nope.
The mirror figure is tempting, but for what the price is probably going to be, no.
They look cute, but yeah, I got my figurine money somewhere else.
The only thing I might get is maybe the Mira plushie, but I don't really collect like stuff. Really, I mainly collect art books. That's like the only thing. So no, not really.
Yeah, I think that plush is like $24, so it's definitely affordable. And it's cute.
I really want that plushie and the Mira statue. Let's see how much it is, because I would love that to be, because right now my only Silent Hill collectible items are, I think it is literally actually just the Robbie. So the idea that my only Silent Hill collectibles are Robbie, a stuffy of Mira, and a statue of Mira is very funny to me. I have the newspaper from the first movie. That's the other thing I have.
Oh, that too, yeah. Me too. I want the Mira plushie.
Yeah. So I was very excited. What I kind of found pretty funny was I had so many people say, I thought of you when they unveiled it. I thought of you when they showed it James and Maria. I'm like, yeah, because I'm always fucking complaining. Hey guys, this is your spoiler warning in regards to Silent Hill 2, as endgame stuff is referred or mentioned without warning in the last part of this episode. Skip to roughly 2 hours, 17 minutes, 30 seconds to hear our general closing thoughts and goodbyes. Okay, we also got confirmation that a new Silent Hill movie is in the works. An adaptation
the second one.
of Silent Hill.
Movie.
There's no. This is the second one. There are no others.
Yeah.
According straight from the horse's mouth.
How dare this Revelations erasure? That movie makes me laugh so much. How dare you?
It is Revelation.
So
oh, whatever.
It's no. Both of you, how dare you? It's Silent Hill Revelation 3D. Use its full title.
Okay.
No.
Now, you know what? I think you're goofy fun inside. Okay.
It's so quick thing. It's so funny because after all of these announcements, I went on Twitter and I'm like, hey everybody, let's try not to beat up on new fans. Let them be excited. And I made a little chart kind of talking about everything, and I didn't want to make it biased. So with Revelation, I was like, it's a fun, dopey movie. And I watched it 2 nights ago. No,
it is a fun dopey. I have a blast watching that.
That movie is so fucking bad.
I laugh so much.
It is a very funny movie, yes.
It is a bad movie that doesn't hold up under
any level of anything.
Okay. A last point on that is the burger eating scene is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie.
You bring that up every time we mention that movie.
I know, but it's so good though.
Okay, so we're getting an adaptation of Silent Hill 2. There wasn't a lot they could show since the movie itself is still in pre-production with actual filming and casting still being in the works. But they did show storyboard and image boards recreating several recognizable scenes and locations from Silent Hill 2, like meeting Eddie, who was throwing up in the Woodside Apartments, walking to Brookhaven with Maria, James walking towards the first encounter with the lying figure, and even what seemed to be the lobby of the Lakeview Hotel, which looked a lot like it was trying to be the Overlook Hotel, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's clear influence.
Victor Hadida, the producer of the Silent Hill and Resident Evil films, got into contact with Konami a few years ago about making a new Silent Hill movie with Christoph Gans, again, who of course directed the first film. Konami received a fantastic film concept and script, and Konami thought it was going to be a great film, but then wondered whether a new film was enough, and they were eager to also bring back the game series as well. So maybe it's thanks to this film adaptation idea that it was giving them enough kick in the butt to bring the Silent Hill games back. I don't know.
It wasn't a decade of fans begging. It wasn't being made fun of by every single journalist in the entire industry for a decade.
No, it was the film.
It was the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel like that actually is pretty plausible, just because like look at The Last of Us. They made a remake of a game that's barely 10 years old for a TV show, essentially. So
yeah.
So personally, I'm super excited because I always thought that Silent Hill 2 was a great game to adapt to film, given it's such a simple story. It's a guy looking for his wife, and you don't have to worry about like explaining the cult or trying to explain how this town works. It is his personal story, and it had some cool set pieces, and Pyramid Head being in the movie makes sense.
Yeah, the one time.
He's gonna be Lanky Pyramid Head again.
I hope they use Silent Hill 2 Pyramid Head and not
that is one thing that I thought was exciting is it in the storyboards it's Silent Hill 2 Pyramid Head.
Okay, so they won't have Dwayne Johnson playing fucking Pyramid Head again.
And in theory his ass won't be out.
Hierarchy of Silent Hill is gonna change.
Yeah, I'm super curious about that because I know that Pyramid Head looking different in the movie was because of technical difficulties. That like the actor just straight up couldn't see out of the game helmet design. So I wonder if Pyramid Head might just be digital now, which I think would be fine, but it would be such a huge change from that first movie that has so many costumes and practical effects.
I think you could always have like a green screen strip over his face or eyes, and that'd be much easier than a fully CG. Because I'm sure there's already going to be Gans is probably going to have enough money with all this interest to do a decent budget, hopefully.
Because it's clear with Revelation that the budget was knocked down a lot.
God,
yeah, and a fully CGI Pyramid Head, they're going to have a lot of CG in it anyway, and that'd be a lot to get right or to look good.
Yeah, I think there's a potential. This, I don't feel like particularly strong about this one way or another, just because like it could be great, it could be whatever. It's an adaptation, so like if it's good, whatever, sure, that's great. If it's not so great, whatever. I kind of flip flop on the original Silent Hill movie. I think it's good overall, as we've said on this podcast before, but it'll be curious to see who's casted or if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be giant big name actors or anything.
I want Kevin Bacon. I don't know why, but I want Kevin Bacon. Based on the storyboards.
As Downfall, though.
And the storyboards, though.
Okay. Hear me out. So Ryan Gosling as James.
Oh God.
Hey, it's better than Elijah Wood. All of us. There's a lot of people on Twitter that were saying that after he.
Honestly, I would go for it.
I think he
fucked up.
Yeah, he can actually. He could totally be, because James is a fucking weirdo, and like if you've ever seen some of his horror stuff, Elijah Wood can do that.
Like he can play like someone that's like vulnerable. Like, oh, you wouldn't think he's capable of that. He seems kind of like he seems like a nice guy, but then he can turn it on and be fucking weird.
He is an Oscar-nominated actor, so we should give him a little credit.
At the very least, because it's with Gans this time, it's in the right hands. If it has a chance, then he can do it right.
Did they say what film company is undertaking?
It's probably going to be Davis Films, right?
Yeah, same ones, I think.
So it's Sony. Sony would be distributing again, I take it. Maybe.
No, it was Columbia for the other two, wasn't it?
I thought it was
TriStar.
Sony.
It was Sony
Yeah,
and
TriStar is
TriStar, yeah.
Sony. Yeah. They
Oh,
are
yeah.
Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all
Okay.
own each other.
And
They,
Samuel Hadida was the old producer, but he died, so I guess his brother or somebody's taking over.
Yeah, Victor.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie probably will bring a lot of people to all these new projects, so that's probably the best thing about it. I hope it's good. It'll be really weird to see parts of Silent Hill 2 as a movie,
How can
imagine
you sit there eating pizza?
Yeah. Oh, if they don't include that line, I'm walking out of the theater.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
She said she was fine by herself. She said a fatso like me would just slow her down.
Forget you.
Oh no, but I was just thinking about are they going to introduce Eddie vomiting in a toilet again?
I mean, that's what was in the storyboards.
Yeah.
I hope.
I mean, the thing that makes me so excited about this is I love the first Silent Hill movie. I just did a rewatch of it I bought the nice new Blu-ray release. And one of the things, regardless of how faithful the story itself is, that movie is clearly made by somebody that really, really loves the game and wanted to capture the vibe and the atmosphere and
I think
what makes Silent Hill what it is.
I think this one's easier to adapt than the first one because you don't have any of the cult stuff. And as much as I like the cult stuff in the first Silent Hill game, it would be really confusing for I get, even though I don't really like the Puritan witch burning stuff in the original Silent Hill movie, I kind of get why they did it, because trying to explain to Bob, who has never watched played Silent Hill, what the fuck White Claudia is, I kind of get why they went the direction they did.
Yeah, it's just too much.
But Christoph Gans definitely nailed the look and feel with the first film.
Yeah.
The adaptation of the story, the Silent Hill 1 story, was a bummer. But I have a feeling that maybe this one will actually be closer to the game, just because, like you said, it's easier to explain than the cult in the first game.
I think Hadida talks about being inspired also by the myth of Orpheus, and Eurydice dies because of being bitten by a viper. It has nothing to do with being suffocated by a pillow. Orpheus does go into the underworld to restore her mortality. I did look it up.
Yeah, that might just be a general talking point, just a general inspiration. Yeah.
Just like Crime and Punishment.
Yeah. But Gans did say that he says the script for a new Silent Hill movie is totally independent from the previous two movies and respects the way Silent Hill has evolved.
Okay.
So,
Hold on. Are you telling me this movie isn't going to be about Sean Bean looking for Rose?
Thank goodness.
It's still I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, after that second one, I'm so I don't want any more Silent Hill. It's it's the director of the first movie, and if you want any more confidence in how not like Revelation it's going to be, he hasn't seen it.
The worst part is, maybe not the worst part, is Sean Bean would actually make a good James. Maybe he's a little too old, but I could see it,
James says his actions were too feminine, though, so he'll be recast by a woman in the second movie.
Oh, right.
Right.
God. I do find it very interesting that in the storyboards, Maria and Eddie and everything just look like them, and then James looks like Tobias from Animorphs.
I really hope that this has a good budget too, because that was one of the reasons why Revelations turned out like garbage, because it had a really shoestring budget.
Yeah, I think the original had $60 million.
Yeah, so
let's look it up.
People really
that's decent. That's decent for what they. I mean, they got a lot out of that budget for
also,
the money.
One thing interesting about this project is for many years, the Silent Hill movie was considered, and rightly so, the best video game adaptation there was. And we live in a post Sonic the Hedgehog world where there is a lot of big, high quality video game adaptations now.
Yeah, there's at least 3.
But that's still
as opposed to 1.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like there's still a lot better than there was at the time. Like back then, like Resident Evil, when Mila Jovovich is beating up Nemesis with her fists, like it was a different time, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
So I think that I hope that Konami or whoever is making this gives him a good budget, because if they're just going to give him like 30 million again or something, then
or even half the budget of Revelation.
Yeah. I looked it up. The first Silent Hill movie had a $50 million budget. Silent Hill Revelation 3D had a $20 million budget.
Yep,
which is $5 million less than Welcome to Raccoon City.
Which, I have a feeling that they're probably going to go pretty hard on this. And again, because it had such a reputation for a long time, and it still looks really good.
Yeah, it's their best shot. It's their best shot to do a good movie, and if everybody at the table knows that, then hopefully they'll give them enough money to do it.
Yeah, and this also seems like it's probably a couple years away, I imagine.
Yeah, if it's still in storyboard stage, then it's probably 2 or 3.
If they haven't casted anybody yet, yeah, definitely. Maybe they'll start filming sometime soon. I don't know.
Who knows?
But they're talking about it. I'm surprised they would even bother to talk about it at all, given how early it is. But
it might be either A, just another thing to throw on their hype machine, or B, because Christoph Gans wouldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
The dude talked about that movie like 8 times in interviews, which if you follow me on Twitter, you will know that I took quite a lot of heat for saying, hey, look, the director of the first movie says they're making more games, and people kept going, why would he know? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that Christoph Gans would know nothing. It's kind of weird.
It's
weird. It's weird, though, that they would believe some rando person on Twitter with no connection.
Right, which was funny. Whether or not you believe him, he's at least more believable than some guy.
Yeah. He's actually trying to make a living, not just get famous on social media. Anyway.
But yeah, that's pretty much the transmission broadcast. Let's get to the big elephant in the room. All right.
Yep.
So the first showed was probably the most controversial, which is funny because usually people hate new games, and this was a teaser trailer for the Silent Hill 2 remake in the works by Bloober Team. You can of course view this online, but again, I thought I would talk through the visuals since this is an audio podcast. It opens with a clearly agitated James bursting into a dark and grody bathroom, wetting his face, his hands are trembling, and then looking at himself in a bathroom mirror. A voiceover from him somewhat explaining his current agitation.
Could she really be here? Waiting for me? Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
He then pushes the bathroom door back open, and we get a glimpse of the observation deck outside. And the details are outstanding. I mean, it took my breath away. There's a telephone pole with several flyers rustling in a misty breeze. James's rusty blue car. I don't believe it's the exact model of a 1977 Pontiac Ventura anymore. I'm not a car person. I only know what kind of car he drove thanks to other Silent Hill fans, but the taillights looked a bit different when I compared it. The screenshot of the observation deck from the Steam store page to the car you see in the original game. If it makes any difference, I thought it was the same car. I didn't know any better, but I think it's different. And the blue license plate, it's the same as the one in the original game. It's 000THZ. So they've already shown they have kind of great attention to detail. James still parks like a dick. It's crooked within the parking space with his rear bumper jutting out over the line, though his driver's side door isn't hanging open, which apparently upset some fans, but more on this later. In the distance, there's the abandoned white van parked near the purple Toluca Lake sign pointing off screen beneath a peeling Pete's Bolorama billboard. To the left is the closed County Road 73 underpass entrance, blocked with chain link and barrels, and still bearing the white and red welcome letters, and it's still missing that last D in welcome. Continuing, we see James pass a metal frame sign with a peeling, wrinkled, and water-stained tourist map of the town. The southwest is notably blocked by heavy staining. Not sure where this map is supposed to be located, maybe somewhere on the observation deck or closer to town. When comparing a screenshot of the map from the teaser to the map in the original game, the layout of South Vale is almost one-to-one. There's definitely more buildings and greenery marked on the remake map, but the layout of the streets and their names definitely line up for the most part. I am super excited to explore. There's more snippets of small scenes of James walking through different areas of the foggy town itself. We hear Mary's voice reading the opening line of the letter we know and love.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill.
There's a shot from within a closed diner of some kind, and we see James slowly walk by through its front windows. Just as his form is about to cross the closed glass entrance, the doors swing open. It was kind of creepy. Was it due to the wind? Ghost? The town telling James, hey, go in for a moldy sandwich? You know, who knows? It's definitely something new. I wonder maybe if we can explore one more of the shop fronts in the remake. I wouldn't be opposed personally. I think that's pretty cool. Next, James is passing a red brick building with several balconies and surrounded by a chain link fence. I'm thinking that's probably the Woodside Apartments. Then there's a low shot of James's boot stopping briefly on the road, and we see a shambling figure moving slowly further down the fog-filled street. It's probably the lying figure he follows for his first enemy encounter. The next scene shows James stop briefly beneath several streetlights at an intersection. It seems to me to be the intersection of Katz and Neely, mainly given that it's the one area you see several traffic lights in the original game, and the thick stripe awning on the building to James's right looks like it could be Big J's, and I was looking at my screen cap, kind of zooming in, and on the telephone pole there is a street name sign, and it looks like it could be saying Cats to me. Fog fills the screen, and we're told that the remake has creature designs by Masahiro Ito and music by Kari Yamaoka, and it's of course being developed by Bloober Team. So yay, we have the return of two original Silent Hill 2 development team members, which is very exciting. Teaser continues. James picks up a folded handkerchief with flowers embroidered on one of the corners. Flipping it open, the inside is stained with blood. Maybe another hint about Mary's unnamed illness. The handkerchief is dropped when James is startled by a mannequin flopping to the floor directly behind him. And this is where we get a good look at his remake outfit. It's reminiscent of his original. He has his green jacket and blue jeans, but there's notable differences. His army jacket is missing the patches. I don't know if that's gonna stay that way, or they're gonna put them in later. He's also wearing a grayish blue dress shirt instead of that gray striped, I don't know, was it a polo? It's not a dress shirt in the original game. And he even has a belt. So he's a little bit more fancy, I guess, in this remake. James warily looks around the corner the mannequin creature dropped from into a small kitchen and spots Pyramid Head wrestling with another mannequin. Considering the circumstance, this scene must take place in apartment 307 in the Woodside Apartments when James runs into Red Pyramid Thing not fucking the mannequins. Though in the remake, the apartment it's much more furnished, which is pretty cool. And then there's a shot of Laura's back at the entrance of Brookhaven Hospital. Her blonde hair is in a ponytail. She's wearing her trademark striped long-sleeve shirt and denim dress. Another quick cut. James is on the ground, stretching his arm through metal bars, straining to reach a key on the third floor of the Woodside Apartments, which is, sadly for him, kicked out of reach by Laura. His narration continues with, "I know why I needed you," as he steps through a large rusted door. Maybe the large doors of the Otherworld lobby in Lakeview Hotel just before the final fight with Pyramid Heads? Don't know. The scene jumps again back to Woodside Apartment 307, where James is hiding in a closet and slowly raises his gun and takes aim through the door slats. I assume to shoot Pyramid Head. I really liked that scene because it definitely felt, comparing it to the original, it felt really tense, just his facial expressions and pointing his gun up. I thought it was a nice improvement. His narration continues and says, "But it's all over now." The scene shifts and James stands in the rain, looking up and holding a noose, which must be in Toluca prison, either in the courtyard, where he got those 3 prison tablets at the gallows and gains the horseshoe, or later on in the labyrinth when he pulls the noose during their Free the Innocent Man puzzle. It could be a combination of those scenes, I don't know. But given the rain, I'm leaning more towards it being a scene within the courtyard. The narration continues with, "I don't need you anymore." We are inside Brookhaven Hospital and we see 2 nurses stumble in a dark corridor. James bursts through a doorway to the left and swings his trusty plank of wood with a nail towards the nurse closest to him and just starts wailing on her. The bobblehead nurses in the remake look more like Ito's design for the Gecko's 2013 Comic-Con nurse statue with their bright red stockings and garter belts. It was hard to see given the tilt of the nurses' heads and even in the screenshot, but I think they still have the red square. It could just be wishful thinking on my part, but I thought I kind of saw it a little bit. Next we see James run and slide in between some closing metal doors. He looks panicked and appears to be yelling back at someone. It's probably the scene where he and Maria are being chased in the hospital basement, and he's just entered the elevator to watch helplessly as Maria is brutally killed for the first time. James is then seen falling to his knees and screaming. Likely this is before the Pyramid Head fight, and I was surprised how many endgame scenes we were getting in this teaser. But I guess if you don't know, you don't know. So I think this is the right before the Pyramid Head fight where they're killing Maria in front of him again. He's screaming like, "Whoa, I don't need you anymore." He finally finishes his narration with, "I'm ready." So we then see him walk down a dock towards Maria, who's standing in some sort of gazebo or maybe a bandstand thing, looking out towards the lake. James notices her and says, "Mary?" And then the teaser cuts to the logo, fog on black, and then there's another quick scene of Pyramid Head in the rain on Brookhaven Hospital roof, most likely right before he yeets James off the side. And after the teaser, we're given a little bit more info about the remake, definitely more than info than we got for any of the other teasers. So I'm going to kind of go through this as fast as I can so we can get to discussion. The producer of the Silent Hill 2 remake is Motoi Akamoto. Masahiro Ito has returned as the concept artist and was actually approached by Konami at least 3 years ago. It was a bit hard keeping his involvement a secret, especially given how often fans peppered him with questions over the years. He was struggling, guys. Akira Yamaoka is once again returning to develop the sound and music. In Akira's video message to fans, he states how excited he is to return, and he is glad this game is being remade after 20 years. The remake will have a new musical style, and he really hopes that the music and the sound design will please the existing fans and have the same impact as when Silent Hill 2 first released. As I mentioned earlier, the remake is being developed outside of Japan by Bloober Team, a Polish game studio founded in 2008 and have made a name for themselves in the horror genre with Layers of Fear, Observer, Blair Witch, and most recently The Medium. And they too had a video message for fans. For Bloober Team members, Silent Hill 2 is the title that made them fall in love with horror games. They are approaching their work on the remake with great respect to the original game, and to ensure that they are keeping the unique Silent Hill atmosphere intact, they are working closely with the original creators, Ito and Yamaoka. They want Silent Hill 2 to make the same strong impression today that the original game did 21 years ago. While they want to achieve the same end results, players' expectations evolve over time, and certain things needed to be modernized to have the same or similar effect. This is why they decided to go with the over-the-shoulder camera in the remake, so they could immerse players into the game world as much as possible. Honestly, it's understandable. I mean, gamers have a certain expectation when they're playing a modern game.
Yeah, I completely agree with the decision, and I've been seeing lots of people online angry that it's over the shoulder and angry that they changed the combat, going like they dumbed it down for modern audiences. Like, I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole or anything, but we've all been playing these games since this was just what games were like, so we're used to it. Silent Hill 2's camera sucks ass. It swings around like a drunken sailor, and it's really difficult for new players to get a hold on. And the combat is just tapping square until the thing goes away.
And stomping.
And stomping, yes. So it's like modernizing these things makes complete sense. These things are a gigantic barrier to old fans, and
you mean new
gatekeeping
fans.
something, to new fans. I mean, sorry. And to gatekeep things like the archaic game design is like, I like tank-controlled games too, but that doesn't change the fact that the majority of game players now don't understand them at all and refuse to learn.
Yeah. So they're basically in their video message, they're saying they're trying to create this like synergy where the new or modernized mechanics will support the original spirit of Silent Hill 2. They want to combine old with the new. It's no easy task, but they think they're on the right track. Their goal is to recreate everything that made the game a timeless classic, but give it a new form which will draw players even deeper into the Fox series. So basically, they want new players to play this game, and there's going to be some sacrifices to what you expect gameplay-wise, which they did the same for like the Resident Evil 2 remake, and look how people were shitting on that before it came out, and then it came out, and next thing you know, most of the people were like, oh, well, yeah, it's actually pretty fun. I really like this.
All these improvements sound like good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so from what they said, it sounds like they're really going in with this with reverence. I know a lot of people don't like Bloober Team, but I felt I don't know, it seemed like they were really trying to assure fans that they're going to try really hard to make the game we want. Even the producer, the Japanese producer, he added that Konami receives proposals for Silent Hill from teams around the world every year, like tons of proposals. I wonder why, maybe because you guys didn't have any games out for 10 years. But like Bloober Team apparently were the most passionate, and you could see the love they have for the game. I have here, Silent Hill 2 will be released on PS5, but also on PC, and both platforms have store pages up to wishlist the game. I think we can assume PS5 and PC are at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No, maybe. I thought I heard something about the PS5 as a timed exclusive.
It says
timed console exclusive.
Oh, that crap again. Okay.
Yeah. It's like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is still not on Xbox.
And one of the Bloober Team members mentioned on their Twitter that everything seen in the teaser was all in engine. I just forgot the Unity engine. What is it called?
Unreal 5.
Unreal 5. Thank you. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, wait, shit. What's the name of the engine?
This is going to be a very demanding game.
Yeah, so everything we saw was like in-game graphics, which is, from what I saw, I thought it was beautiful. And
it looks great.
Yeah.
The only thing that looked a little janky to me, at least, was the hair. I know James, there's a couple scenes where he's like turning a corner and the hair, I don't know, there's that weird thing where sometimes when they render every strand or whatever, it just feels like this spaghetti mass, and as opposed to like real hair. Now, they did say they were in the final stages of development, so I don't know where they were in development when they rendered all that new stuff.
Well, at least they've been developing at least 3 years if they were talking
so
to Ito.
I mean, it's not a game deal breaker, but that was the only thing that I noticed that was just, if it's in an Unreal 5, that should probably just look a little better. But if hair is all I have to complain about with the Silent Hill 2 remake, they're probably on the right track.
Okay.
I would throw in, and obviously there's a lot of speculation as well as assumption in this, but there was a lot of speculation surrounding this, that this stream was meant to happen last year.
Yeah.
During last E3.
Wasn't one of the leaks like a PowerPoint from, it's supposed to show in 2021?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be for the 20th anniversary, not the 21st.
Right.
Yeah.
But it got delayed for whatever reason.
Probably
so
COVID.
There's a really solid probably COVID.
Maybe all the leaks kept coming out.
Well, there was a lot of speculation this week that there was probably going to be a state of play, because also this week there was just a random Final Fantasy 16 trailer and the Resident Evil stuff. So there probably was going to be a state of play where all that stuff was going to be shown off, and then all these companies decided to do their own thing.
My main point though was that there's a really good chance that this trailer might be a year old, and they just held on to it because that's what happened to Resident Evil 2 Remake. That was supposed to release for RE2's anniversary, and this isn't speculation. They've actually said this. That was supposed to release for the 20th anniversary, but it got held off a year. So the reveal trailer at E3 looks nothing like final game, even though they only released 7 months apart.
Yeah,
because
Leon's
the trailer
face
is
weird.
from Leon and Claire look completely different in that trailer. And you can actually see like vestiges of their first person mode in that trailer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's a trailer from a year before. So there's a really solid chance the same thing could be happening with this Silent Hill 2 trailer. It might
a common thing. I mean, it's the final game is just not going to look like the trailer. That's just we accept that.
So considering the negativity associated with Bluebird Team's involvement when this remake was only just rumored, it was just rumors and people were already going, oh god, this is going to be terrible. I mean, I joked about it, but I didn't. I always said I'd give the game a chance. If you guys had any reservations, did seeing this footage and hearing the team discuss their intentions with the game, did it put your mind at ease, or did it just confirm that this is just a bad idea, like a lot of fans I saw on Twitter after the reveal?
I would say absolutely not. I won't go in. I don't want to come off as the negative Nancy, but this trailer really rubbed me the wrong way. I think I'll give a good example.
Okay.
The opening shot. So the opening shot of the original game and this game, where James is looking in the mirror, you don't see his eyes. And the reason you don't do that is because, like, when you're having a conversation with someone, or when you're just trying to get to know someone, or anything, you look in their eyes. You're supposed to, like, it's kind of like, not to sound corny, but it's like a window into the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they don't show you that in the original game is because they don't want you to realize what's going on in his head. Remake, first shot, you see his eyes. He's sad. In the original game, you had no idea what he was thinking.
Okay.
So that immediately tells me, and again, I think I'm sorry to come off as a negative Nancy, but just knowing how Bluebird Team handles delicate subjects, particularly in the medium, I do not have faith that they are going to respect this story or do it justice. So that was the biggest gripe I've seen recording this reveal, was in the way James looked, and like you said, his facial expressions during the teaser. Many felt he was too emotive when compared to the more subdued performance in the original CGI, and the consensus seems to be that it was giving away his mental instability right there way too soon in the observation deck bathroom, and apparently now he's also fugly. So I'm the opposite of you, Kyle. Mm-hmm. I thought it was fine. I mean, yeah, he's less stoic, but it still fits. I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the team's desire to modernize aspects of the story for a new audience. He's a bit disheveled. He says some scruff, and knowing that he drank a lot during Mary's illness. Okay, it's throwaway line in Heaven's Night, but it's there, damn it, and I know yeah. And the fact that the dude is there because his dead wife wrote him a letter, he's crazy for going in the first place. So it makes sense he's quite sad and a bit off kilter from the get-go. Personally, I'm looking forward to another protagonist emoting more, crying, screaming, being disgusted with the world he's interacting with. And frankly, I always thought James's non-reactions to things was a little bit too weird. I know I'm a bad fan, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
completely.
I don't know. Am I crazy for being eager to
No,
see less
I
dreamlike,
completely-
stilted performance?
I completely agree with you, Whitney. I've seen a lot of people complain about the mirror scene, which I don't know. I no.
It didn't seem too extreme to me either. When I was looking at it and taking screen caps, I'm like, actually, he's not emoting that much.
Because there's three main things with this, and again, maybe I'm going too far. Silent Hill 2 is a game from 21 years ago. Faces didn't emote in PlayStation 2 games. They just didn't. Unless you were Jack and Daxter, find me a game where the faces did either anything more expressive than shock. I mean, it really wasn't done at the time. And I'm not saying that it wasn't an intentional thing that everyone is kind of stoic in that game, but like the script, James sounds pretty miserable in places. And the combination of it being a PS2 game on a blurry CRT monitor where they just couldn't really make them emote, and the fact that Guy Seehee can't act his way out of a paper bag. Yeah, these are things that are going to change, especially I'm not familiar with the actor playing James.
Well, that, and anytime you have another actor and another animation, it's not going to be the exact same experience.
That's my thing. It's all about the execution. Like we could have a remake that did everything perfectly and looked just like it but better, so that would just be a new coat of paint, and then people would be complaining that it wasn't different enough. I'm on the Whitney train.
Yay!
I think there's a time and a place for the non-emotive Silent Hill characters, and that's 1 through 4. So we already had that. Let's move on to a James that emotes. And
right, if we want Silent Hill 2, the original one, play the original one.
Yeah, I mean, buy a PS2 and a CRT TV and find a $100 copy.
I would kind of counterpoint that though with you can't buy the original Silent Hill 2 anywhere.
Well,
there's no need to replicate it in a remake.
The HD collection.
HD collection, which is fine if you don't know what's wrong.
But also,
Right,
also the HD collection is only available on PS now. Like, come on, that's not a great.
It's on Xbox One as well.
Okay. Well,
I do understand though, Kyle, where you're saying like we know the story, right? Going in and we're seeing this stuff. It's like, oh, they're giving it away. But I bet you new players not knowing going in, they're gonna know that, hey, this guy is looking for his dead wife. He's gonna be sad. They might be like, they might not know that he's...
I should clarify. It's not that I don't think that he should emote or that technology has gotten better. It's the framing of the scene is different.
Okay.
That's what I am saying. Like, they hide his eyes in the original, and maybe it was yes, of course, it's part of a technical limitation, but that enhances the effect. It's why a lot of special effects in older movies hide what you're actually seeing. And it ends up amplifying the effect, and yes, he is more emotive, but I would argue he looks fucking goofy, like he's like in every scene, and it just makes me laugh.
Wouldn't you agree though that taking a different approach to that by being a different team is something that they can grasp onto a little more organically than trying to replicate another artist's vision? It's almost like trying to paint in someone else's style.
Oh
it's
yeah, of course.
Just paint it in your own style. I mean, and who's to say they might do a little twist on something? Hopefully not too crazy.
I hope they don't, given that studio's track record.
Well, but something like Resident Evil 2 remake, where there's little adjustments, and obviously there's not too much to adjust in Silent Hill 2 story without breaking what we already know. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. I think they know how important it is. They have Konami's approval, and it's theirs to fail. So I think,
and don't forget, they have 2 team members there who were, despite their job titles, they were there from the get-go in the beginning in the planning stages of that game. At least,
and who's to say some of those directives didn't come from the original team members? Where they go?
The producer did say during that teaser that Bloober Team's actually able to animate stuff that the original team wanted to do, but they just didn't have the technology to capture that sort of emotion. So that I guess again back to the technical limitations, which I think it's kind of like
in a different style.
I think it's a little bit of a lame reasoning, because I've seen PS1 and PS2 games show great emotion, especially Sato
Yeah.
with the CGI. They probably made an aesthetic choice here with Silent Hill 2, and in my mind, there's going to be Silent Hill 2, the original, and then there's going to be the remake, where it's going to be the same, but they're going to try new things like they did with the Resident Evil remakes. The original,
Why not?
the original is still going to be there, and maybe they'll release the PC version on Steam, and that would be amazing. Just put it up there.
See, that would leave a lot of the for me, anyways. I think I'm alone in this call. But
come on,
just do like. There's no. Hey, you know what? If you have confidence in your remake, do it. Put the old one up.
Yeah,
huh? It's out of date. It's old. It sucks.
Yeah.
Put it up.
That would be the best excuse.
They did that for Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, do it.
But I think that, again, some of this is just because, and like, I'm not going to spoil other games, but I really have not enjoyed Bloober Team's games.
I
didn't
played
like Blair Witch.
Layers of Fear, and I played Blair Witch, and they were fine. They were just like kind of walking around a spooky place.
And again, I won't go into spoilers, but there's some stuff in the medium that's, I'm just going to say it. It's really fucking gross, like really gross.
Well,
what's that?
Does it? Okay, just knowing we have insider info that Konami has extremely short leash with Bloober Team in terms of changes.
Jason Schreier tweeted that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
In terms of changes or new content, meaning they can't supposedly stray far from what the original team already made. They are not going to change story beats and whatnot. Knowing that, and knowing how I failed. I haven't played the medium, but knowing that they failed pretty hard in that game, in that story, and they probably won't deviate from the story we know and love. You have a little bit more confidence, given that they are kind of restricted in what they can do, and they're not just given the reins to go willy-nilly.
Here's how I'll put it. So everyone here is willing to give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's they have to prove that they can handle some of the subject matter in this game.
So are you going to wait then to get the game to see reactions?
I'm probably gonna have to cover it for work or something.
Okay.
But like, I'm gonna play it regardless. Like, I'm not gonna not play it. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm boycotting it. Like, I'm not. I should clarify that. Like, I hate coming off as like the negative one. But again,
no,
like,
your fears are fine. This is what it is. Discussion.
Silent Hill 2 deals with a lot of taboo subjects that especially for its time, but even today, like, it deals with domestic abuse, spousal abuse. It deals with sexual assault, a lot of things that frankly require a lot of care. And I have seen what Bloober Team thinks is acceptable, and that is what my big fear is. And maybe I would be less judgmental. And I know that they have a short leash, but allegedly have a short leash.
Yeah, allegedly.
But,
you should say that.
But that is why That was why when I watched this, I was like, no.
So I get that. I definitely get those fears, because that was most of my Twitter timeline, was people going, oh, they're going to ruin it. I'm one of those, the glass is half full and not half empty. I'm willing to give them a chance. From what I've seen, the game looks gorgeous. I'm excited to explore this new South Vale. James is, like I said, I'm interested in seeing a more emotional James. Maybe I might actually sympathize with him a bit more. If he's a little bit more emotional. Probably not, because I hate him. But I guess what I'm saying is, maybe, do you think your fears would have been assuaged if like, they showed a bit of Angela or Eddie? Like, if you saw a scene with one of them, and it hit the same beats as the original, would you feel a little bit more comfortable, or?
I think the only way to know is to play through the game from beginning to end. So,
all right.
Yeah.
I just feel like this one's, like, I am not the target audience, because I played the original, so this is for new people, and to get them into the series. But I mean, I'll play it, but I just am going into it with this is not for me.
Well, here's hoping they will put it out though, the originals at some point. Like, put them on Steam.
Perfect excuse to do that.
That's the best case scenario, and it's what Capcom should have done 5 years ago.
There was another, besides James and being over emotional and making goofy faces, I saw a lot of fans kind of nitpicking, like, sorry, my phone is, I forgot to put this on silent. I saw people getting upset, for example, that the driver's side door was closed.
That's just so stupid. Like, come on.
Yeah, when you mentioned that at the beginning, I was like, "This is what we're talking about."
Yeah,
like, look at that. Look at the shot of the overlook of Toluca Lake. That's probably my favorite scene from Silent Hill 2. And I got this gigantic like 4K image, and I was just zooming in, and I was like, "Good Lord, this looks gorgeous!" Like, who gives a fuck about the door?
Well, hold on. So the reasoning was. Having the car door open in the original was a deliberate choice because James does not intend to come back to his car. Meanwhile, I read that and I'm going, I thought it was a way to direct the player's attention to the car to get the map. Yes, this game has like layers of meaning, but I don't think everything in the game needs to be
Joe has proven
replicated.
that on Twitter again and again that a lot of things meaning was just.
It looked cool. It looked cool.
It looked cool.
Designed a game.
I mean, Angela's in Silent Hill 3 because asset reuse.
Yeah, they're going into like college English professor mode where like the wallpaper is blue because they're sad. And it doesn't necessarily mean the author meant that.
That actually takes away from the game and the mystique of all the story and all the stuff that is like legitimately layered. Like, it's like the Star Wars effect. Once you give a meaning to every single thing, then all of it seems less special. The world doesn't seem bigger; it seems smaller.
Yeah. So
I also think there's a really solid chance that as a player, we might be the one to open the door ourselves and then leave it that way.
There you go.
A little different, but still the same.
Maybe there's a point to it being different.
That's going to be that could be maybe doing that could be another little. Okay, we know how the endings worked in the original game. It was like what you looked at and whatnot. Maybe leaving the car door open could contribute to the in-water ending because James is not in the mindset to come back. That might be a cool little, twist on how to get those endings.
This deliberate change that's noticeable was deliberate.
Silent Hill fans are really pedantic about stuff like that. It doesn't matter.
I think, okay, if they did do a 1-to-1 remake, I'm sure we would still find something to bitch about. Like, Bloober Team is kind of in a no-win situation here because they already have a lot of the fans not into them, and it just seems so silly, some of the stuff that was pointed out. Like, I get the whole James face and emoting. I get that. It's different. But, like, the car door thing and other, like, minuscule details that they picked out from the teasers that are somehow wrong because it's different. It's like, I
think they don't understand what remakes are. When you think of, like, another...
It's also... That's the effect of... Twitter. That is Twitter for you.
Yeah.
And it's
I was lucky enough not to have read all that stuff, and I just thought, oh, that looks pretty good. I'll probably be picking it up day one.
CJ and October were in my Discord chat when I was watching it, and I was just like, oh my god, it is so fucking gorgeous. Like, the entire...
Every single other person in that chat was like, I don't like this. This is different.
And it was me going, oh my god, that looks great, I'm excited. And there was like, no, James looks weird. James look
There's
weird.
something very interesting about the Silent Hill fan base and how they want to gatekeep it from things that are completely normal for any other entertainment property or product. It's like spin-offs, how dare you? Remakes, how dare you? It's like it's a thing.
There were so many tweets the day that the video went up that were like, I would rather Silent Hill stay dead. It's like,
I don't understand that.
Go away.
I don't.
2008.
I don't know. I should clarify that I'm not part of that group or anything.
I don't think you are, Kyle. I don't think you are.
I just again,
reservations for reasons.
Legitimate.
Mine has nothing to do with because like like the door, like there, no matter what, it's going to get stacked up to the original. You know, the Final Fantasy VII went through that. Resident Evil 2 went through that. And there's a lot of people that don't like those remakes at all either. Those people are crazy, but whatever. But I think it's just like because like you can't say that it looks bad. Like it's an Unreal Engine 5 game running natively on PS5.
Yes, you can apparently, because under that that guy's tweet about how everything was in game, people were like, why is it fugly then? You should fix it.
I mean, that's Twitter. Like people, and also
fair, that could be art direction versus say like rendering or something like that. Like
the same people that think the new
model.
These are the same people that think and actually I can spin this onto James too. These are the same people that hate the new RE3 remake Jill, and they're like, she's ugly. It's like, oh, you're stupid. And same thing with James. Everyone's like, James looks so ugly now. It's like, I should let you know that is just what the actor looks like.
I know. I said during our Discord thing, I'm like, I feel really bad for the mocap guy because
it's just
the only thing I thought was funny about his actual face, like not his emoting, is like he's very clearly a British guy. So there was all those quotes like "so nearly in it," like all those fucking tweets. Those were legitimately funny. But I mean, graphically, I mean, again, it's a next generation Unreal Engine 5 game on natively on PS5, and of course it's going to look really good. It's going to look a lot better than the original from a technical standpoint. There's no arguing that. And if they somehow pull it off, I'll admit that I won't say I was wrong, but I mean again they
have something to prove. They have something to prove.
I wish. So this is the only time I'll mention Resident Evil, but the next day they showed Resident Evil 4, which looked fucking phenomenal. But even if that sucks, let's just say it's trash, just hypothetically. The original Resident Evil 4 is everywhere. You can buy it on anything. You cannot buy the original Silent Hill 2, and I'm standing by that. I would have way less reservations if I could just buy that fucking game somewhere. And I know that's the problem that annoys me. That's another thing that annoys me. And again, I know there's the HD collection, but I don't like the HD collection somewhere.
Yeah, well, here's hoping that they'll get inspired to put the PC version on Steam or GOG. I mean, they put Silent Hill 4. If they could
Isn't it so weird that they
Silent Hill 4, they could put Silent Hill 2 and 3. I mean, fans will make patches. It's
so weird that they only put Silent Hill 4 on GOG and then not
for sure
the other ones.
they put the other two at least, but they never did.
Yeah.
But maybe this is the excuse they like, hey, more income. Let's put the original up there, and people can compare.
Have it as a bonus to incentivize people to get the remake.
Yeah, well, the hype is
like a pre-order bonus.
All other games.
Or at the very least, Sony could put 1, 2, 3, 4 on their PlayStation Premium thing, which they forgot has PS2 and PS1 games on it 3 months in a row.
They've never done that before.
No.
So I guess we're still kind of talking. Excuse me. Going back to what you said about this teaser maybe being more than a year old. I did notice I was a little bit iffy. Like I was fine with James, but the monsters I was iffy on because they seemed unfinished, especially in the Steam screen caps of like the lion figure. It looked less detailed and like. Pyramid Head's and Pyramid Head's helmet looked not as detailed or rusty, and
I don't want to be the one that talks about the boobies, but the nurse's boobies look like a picture. It's like a PNG.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I was just looking at that screenshot thinking that.
Yeah, but it looks really bad.
So I was wondering, do you guys think maybe they'll release another trailer somewhat soon with maybe, or at least more screens? I'm hoping. One of the things let's put this out there. One of the things I was slightly disappointed about was the look of the monsters. We know that Ito has redesigned them somewhat. He's still, the creature designer on this. What did you guys feel about the new looks for like the nurses and the line figures.
I
from what
like
you
the
saw.
red stocking look from the Gecko figure, that art. So that's more like a modern Ito interpretation of the Silent Hill nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She still does look pretty clean. Like her chest is
So
like
clean.
flesh, like it's normal flesh. Yeah, it just looks like a person is wearing this costume. Like she needs to look like she's.
I was like, "Where's the grime? Where is the grime? They're supposed to look grimy and smelly."
It kind of looks. They kind of look like cosplayers.
Yes, they did. Okay, so I'm not alone with thinking that the monsters seem a little bit unfinished. They're not dirty enough. They're not detailed enough. But maybe that's because, like you said, this trailer is older than what we think it is.
We don't even know. Did they say for sure it's coming out next year or something like that?
I don't think they gave a date. I think
they didn't
just
give a
said
date.
soon.
But
Going back to something we said earlier, that leaked presentation document thing. This game was supposed to come out last holiday season.
Really?
Yeah, according to that leaked document that is out there, that said like holiday 2021. That was the intended release date.
Interesting.
So for all we know, they've been working on this extra hardcore. They've been holding on to it. Maybe they switched to Unreal 5.
Something you mentioned, because you said that something I kind of noticed, but you know that shot where James comes up and he just like starts whacking that nurse like he's really pissed off. That actually made me laugh. He's like, wow, he's really fucking mad.
It made me laugh too. That's why I'm like, he's just wailing on her. Holy moly.
But I think that could just be like engine stuff. Like they're still getting used to it, because Unreal Engine 5 is pretty new, right?
They showed a little bit of during the developer like little spiel.
Oh yeah,
there was
I
that
know.
screen. You could see a little bit of the combat. It looked like James still kind of sucks at fighting, but
for the record, I do think that like doing the over the shoulder thing is absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like October said, Silent Hill 2's camera just goes fucking all over the place sometimes when you try and like center yourself.
a lot of times it'll go into a corner and then you cannot see the nurses in front of you and end up dying.
That's a really reasonable change. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
That's just a nice quality of life improvement that I think modern players expect from a game like that. Like look at the Dead Space remake or Callisto Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a third person over first person horror person myself.
Same.
Oh yeah, I think third person is always the best.
I think there's a lot of good first. I just think it's really overused, and honestly, I think it's harder to make a good third-person horror game. I think it takes more.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
But I love the shot of James walking down the street in that fog. Just looks amazing. So
details galore.
On my end, I made a mistake. So it wasn't holiday 2021. It's this holiday. So it was supposed to come out like any month now.
So are you thinking maybe they're going to delay it to next year holiday?
No. I think if it was supposed to come out like right now, it would probably come out sometime in the spring, unless they made some major changes between the time this document was created.
The only thing I would mention about the release date is like the first half of next year is really stacked, and I probably don't want to, especially with
Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, not just that, but like that's
Dead Space, Callisto, RE4.
Yeah, there's just way too much, and not just horror. For example, this is I know it's on PC as well, but a timed PlayStation exclusive. Given, I don't know if any of you saw this, but given how Sony told Square Enix, you have to delay Forspoken because we are releasing God of War in November, I am willing to bet that because Final Fantasy 16 is probably coming out in like June or July, that Silent Hill 2 is probably going to come out in like late September, October. That's just my guess.
That'd be better, actually. I mean, that would coincide closer with the original release date for the the first Silent Hill 2, and I mean that's like the perfect Halloween/fall release.
That would be, that would be my guess. Is it'll probably be fall, and again, a lot of we don't know what next fall, because someone mentioned spring, and like that's like when like the new Zelda comes out and stuff. Like they don't want to kill this revival before it starts. You know what I mean?
Also, if they released it in winter, that means it would be going up against Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I think it's called, because I'm pretty sure that's December.
Right. So So also going back to that leak document, it's so basically it stated that Silent Hill 5, which is probably F, was going to be announced, and then we'd get the PT style demo, which is Sakura, and that was supposed to come out last summer, like 2021.
Mhm.
So I think they changed the order of what games are coming out and being announced when.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is like there was all those rumors about a Silent Hill set in London. What happened to that?
No, it wasn't a rumor. I know exactly what that was. So that really pissed me off because it was such an overreach. So with the short message Sakura thing, they used some like English like verbiage. It was basically like slang. Like I think what they called her like a manger or something like that. Whitney, do you remember? It was like
no, I don't. I know it was like a slur.
on her.
It was
Oh
a
yeah,
slur,
so on her
slur
face,
in England. Yeah.
Minger. So in the leaked images for Sakura, there was a word on her face that said Minger, and apparently that's like slang in the UK. And then some publications were like, "Whoa, a Silent Hill set in the United Kingdom?" It's like, no, that
Just
first of all, it's a leaked
concept art.
image. It's concept art. Maybe the artist thought that they could use that word because it's more universal to them. And there was zero indication that this was going to be set in the UK or London or whatever. It was literally just a slang word that's
I think
popular there.
that's another thing I'm so glad that there's stuff out and the rumor, because I think all of us were getting really tired of the rumor mill stuff.
No, I was loving it. Every month it was trending with nothing.
Hey, October and I we posted original rumors and been waiting 2 years for this shit just to get finally confirmed.
2 years of waiting for this shit and being called liars and being told that we're writing things for clickbait. Meanwhile, I've been updating my Silent Hill leak article for 2 solid years, documenting this stuff, and people still not believing it, even though it's like Bloober Team announcing we're making a horror game with Konami. What could it be?
Yeah, it's like there was that's above all else. I think I'm just so glad that there's actual games and we don't have
something concrete, not just rumors.
And not.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to say that on a podcast, anyways.
Yeah, I was with you guys. I was getting very fatigued, and like every time, I was like, I don't fucking care. I'm waiting for an official announcement. I don't care how good the rumor sounds, and you have little leaked images. I'm going to wait because I can't do it anymore.
I know, it's just like either come out or don't. I'm tired.
It's like, are you gonna just? Are you gonna shit or just sit on the pot? Just do something already, please.
Rumors? They look like rumors to you?
Okay, so what we saw, the teaser, okay, looks good. There's some reservations still about how Bloober Team might handle the more tricky subject matter. I have faith, given the tight leash that Konami supposedly has on Bloober Team. I hope I'm not wrong, because, man, if they fuck up Angela, I will be very upset. What are some things you guys are maybe looking forward to when you hear the remaking of Silent Hill 2? What's something in the original game you would like to have maybe explored more or seen more of that you could see maybe the remake doing? Like, is there an area of the town you wish you could have seen that maybe could be a possibility?
I think just in general, a more fully fleshed out, like semi-open world version of the original locations. Like, you mentioned the map at the beginning of the new trailer had more buildings. I think that's another thing. Like, even if you did a 1-to-1 and you had the all the buildings and everything intact, I think maybe a modern audience might think it's a little too sparse. Or I just think there's a lot you could do with that. Maybe have more areas within the existing structures that you can go into and explore. That'd be fun.
More creepy notes like we saw like in Nina's bar and kind of
I think it would
outside.
It would definitely be better if just like there's so many like buildings and like they don't have to make, because like there has to be some restriction because it's a linear game, but like a little bit more like I want to go into Happy Burger. What the fuck's going on in there, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to exploring more of the stores. If that's a possibility, I would love that. I'm hoping that they're going to include the Maria sub scenario. Maybe get an expansion on her. maybe we could get more about Maria before James came to town. That'd be really cool because I'm really sympathetic towards her. I think that'd be great.
They're gonna, even if it's, I know some people would shudder over this thought, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't in there at release. It might be a DLC thing.
I mean, it essentially was to begin with. Just
it was on
pre-DLC.
Because it was first on the Xbox version, right?
Yes, it was Xbox it was a second release, and they got more extras because they were released later, and then the PlayStation Greatest Hits got it after that.
Yeah, so that seems. I mean, it really depends. Like Silent Hill 2 is not like a really long game. Like it's a much easier game to remake than like Final Fantasy 7 in that respect. So maybe it'll be there. I mean, Silent Hill 2 doesn't have any other extras, does it? I just realized that.
No. Well, would you be opposed to additional endings? Like if they kept all the endings we know from the original game, but maybe they added another joke ending or a new ending.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Would you be opposed, or would that be something kind of like, hey, it'd be something to look forward to as an old fan?
How do I answer that? If it's a joke, or if it's something where Ito has a spray bottle in front of the writers, and where if they try and write something like Pyramid Head wants to hug James because he's like, you did a good thing when you murdered your wife, then maybe not that, but it's probably
yeah, okay.
Yeah, if he is like, when like a kitty's bad and you squirt him with water, Ito needs one of those.
Okay, let me what if we could have, like Maria had that sub scenario, we got sub scenarios for Eddie and Angela. Would you be opposed to that?
Eddie, maybe. Angela, no. Don't fuck that up. That would be a fuck up.
Do you think that's like a step too far to try?
That's a step too far because I think I don't have Kyle. I didn't play as many as you have, so I can't speak to the medium. But James and Maria are one thing, but I think what you're talking about, I think Angela. I guess I can't really like compare them, but there's the James killing his wife, and then there's the sexual assault with Angela. Instinctually, to me, that is the harder thing to get right. To do with taste and to do it subtly. And any kind of punctuation or addition or subtraction to her story, I think you run the greatest risk of screwing that story up.
Okay.
She's definitely the one that is the most delicate to handle, in my opinion, out of any of those characters. I don't even know quite how they did it in the original game, because
I think it's because they left a lot of stuff to your imagination. They didn't come out and say it, and so you could interpret that however which way you wanted to. And I think that's another thing just in general with the game, but specifically with the Angela story. As soon as you start modifying stuff, there's that temptation to add a little more clarity. And to me, not only is that not Silent Hill, that you run the risk of ruining the story and the character that's already there.
Yeah, when I talked to Jay Blau about that, he specifically said that a lot of it should be left to the imagination, and that the team really wanted that.
Okay, so maybe because I had like another thought. In the opening scenes of the game, with the music and whatnot, we would see some like CGI moments that aren't actually in the game. Would you be opposed to them putting some of those scenes that we see in the opening into the game?
Really? See, like, my thing is not, like, I don't think that they should not add things, in the sense that, like, as long as it's done tastefully, I don't mind. As long I say that, and then on the other hand, I'm like, no, don't do that. But yeah, like those. It's funny because when I was younger, those scenes in the opening cutscene, I'm like, when did that happen in the game? And I would play the game trying to get other endings and shit. I'm like, this is, I didn't know any better when I was a kid.
Yeah. I was wondering, because, like, for example, Laura, there's like lots of questions about Laura. If they tried to, I don't know, explain Laura a little bit more, you guys would probably be against that, right? Because that's giving too much away.
And it's not that. That's not that story. I mean, even if Ito and Yamoka kind of signed off on it, they're still not that original team. That's not. I would argue that's not really their call. I think they could point the new team in new directions, or to stay within a bounding box. But when you're starting to talk about like story and backstory, I think that's overreaching for a remake.
Okay, but what's okay is maybe like more notes, maybe expanding a little bit of the history, but kind of leaving the what we know about the characters currently in the game, kind of leaving that as is, but maybe expanding the history of the town through notes.
New bonus weapons. That's what they do.
Ooh, costumes. Costumes.
I want a lightsaber in this game, and I want a chainsaw that doesn't completely suck.
James gets to be Princess Heart.
Yeah, James gets his pillow from Book of Memories.
Exactly.
I have a question in terms of Silent Hill 2. I don't know a lot about this sort of thing. Does Silent Hill 2 have cut content that we're aware of, like cut story content, cut areas?
There was. Pyramid Head was supposed to originally roam the apartment building.
He's supposed to be like Nemesis, kind of.
I was just curious because one of the things
we saw that in like an E3 trailer, but they ended up cutting that. If they had him roam the apartment building, I don't know if that would increase the tension or just kind of.
I mean, that would be a thing that they might want to do now with how Resident Evil's made that a thing. I was just curious because one of the things that both Dead Space and RE4 Remake are doing is implementing cut content. The developers for Dead Space 1 or Dead Space Remake, have spoken publicly about how they're integrating stuff they found from the original team that got cut because of budget or time constraints and adding it back in. They were like, we took this wall out and we were like, oh, this syncs up with this cut level. That's where this was supposed to go. Oh, well, let's add it back in. And with RE4 Remake, they're really clearly adding 3.5 stuff back in. And so it makes me wonder if Silent Hill 2 might have.
I don't know if it does, though. It's from
the smothering scene. They could include the original version.
Okay, they could. They could put back the sound. I don't know if that will piss people off.
I think the original one is a lot better than that version. Just my opinion.
If I have one thing with the pillow, and I know that it would be a huge issue for people if they change that too much. And this might just be that I'm stupid, but I just replayed Silent Hill 2, and the pillow scene is almost unintelligible. It's really difficult to figure out what it is that's going on there until James gives you context clues explaining it later.
I've always said that if I had the sound with that video, I probably would have hated James sooner than later. Because at first, like, it's easy to kind of go, oh, he's doing it for the right reasons and not being selfish.
Okay. Anyone that says that is just stupid. I don't care what if they say like James, like the whole like James is justified in what he does. Like
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at what people are saying.
You know what would be cool? If you know how when you check Mary's letter closer to the end of the game, it's just a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, I hope they keep that in.
Of course. But leave the cutscene with the pillow as it was, dead silent. On replays, after you've gotten the rest of her letter at the end of the game, new game pluses, she screams.
Ooh, that'd be good. Yeah.
I have a question for all of you because I saw people bring this up and I didn't even think about it. But like Silent Hill 2's puzzles are fairly esoteric by today's standards. Like I like them a lot. And even Silent Hill 2, I don't agree quite as much as some people that they're esoteric. Silent Hill 3 for sure. Like, go look up the fucking release dates of Shakespeare Plays yourself, you idiot.
You can solve the Silent Hill 2 puzzles with just what you see in the game.
Yeah, which is, I've seen people worry that they might not include those puzzles.
Why?
Do you think? I think it's because. Again, because some people think they're esoteric. Again, I don't really. 3, yes. 2, not so much. Do you think that they will alter or make them more I hate to use the word accessible, but modernize them, so to speak?
I don't think so. I think that the game already did a good job at making it accessible. They had the 3 riddle modes. I hope that they keep something like that. I would hate that they remove those types of puzzles because that was a big part of what made Silent Hill
game.
creepy. Like, weird shit you had to do to solve stuff, like opening a can to find light bulbs. You're like, what?
I would say that I hope that they keep them weird and like it takes you a second to figure it out. And shit like the light bulbs, like that's a specific thing. That's barely like, I'm not even sure I would call that a puzzle. It's more like just a moment. But
or like the coin one. I know people have trouble with that.
Coin one is a good example. I will say though, I hope they keep that style of puzzle and that tone of puzzle. I hope they're different puzzles.
Yes.
Because like Resident Evil 1 Remake does a great job with like, it is recognizably the same quote unquote puzzle, but it's a completely new puzzle. So like something like that, I think would be better for fans of the original game, that we can't just go like, oh, it's that puzzle, done.
Yeah, so we'd still have the same experience over and over again, rather than, oh, boo. You know?
Ironically, I have the least problem with puzzles being the things that they change, for the reasons that you guys mentioned. Because not only is it just going to be a familiar thing we're doing over again, but I think there is room for improvement. I think you can add puzzles, you can modify existing ones. I think you can keep that same style without having to change, like, you know, how easy something is.
Like a lot of them were just fetch quests too. I mean, you just had to get certain items and then combine them to open something.
I think it'd be really cool if they added like a randomizer mode. I know that's really stretching, but just like
everything needs a randomizer mode,
right?
After playing like RE1 Remake with randomizer on, it's the most fun thing in the world, and I can't believe nobody in the AAA space has done it yet.
It'd be nice.
It's such a cool idea.
Just so people know, the randomizer is where items and things throughout the game are in different spots.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like the cans of juice and things like that, you know, that you have to do to get to the coin puzzle.
Yeah, that would actually make replaying a bit more interesting if they move those sort of objects. So you have to refine them. That'd be cool.
There's definitely going to be
too much to the story. I mean, you're modifying the puzzles, and that's something that, it's sort of tied to the overall story in terms of the, linear progression. But I would argue that that's the most ripe territory to modify something, not the story, but the actual gameplay.
I imagine that they're gonna change the level design a fair bit.
Yeah.
Something I hope they do change is I hope they don't make the boat a fucking not a pain in the ass. It's always been a pain in the ass, but
you can already see a little of that because the map we can see is mostly the same, but there are differences.
Yeah.
So some layout stuff is for sure changing, but I think it's still going to be recognizably like, I know where to go, just parts of it are going to be a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I would like to see more actual gameplay footage, seeing fighting, seeing puzzles. Hopefully we'll get that soon. I'm excited from what we've seen so far. I'm choosing to, again, try to be positive until there's something to worry about. I'm hoping the tight leash means that we won't get bad versions of Angela or Eddie or anything like that with the mental illness. I guess we'll find out. And
I'm excited to see. I mean, a lot of people were really against Bloober being involved with the franchise at all. I completely agree in that I don't think they have a good track record. I liked Blair Witch because I liked its atmosphere and its vibe. Its story was kind of the medium. For the first half of playing it, I was like, these guys are perfect for Silent Hill 2. The atmosphere is so on point. They get fixed cameras. This feels so authentic. And then the ending was just a gigantic pile of shit. But I do think that them being the team making somebody else's story is the best case scenario for them being involved with this franchise. They can do environments really well. They can do like weird, creepy shit really well. But if they're not writing it is a good thing, I think. And unless I'm wrong, the trailer, all the dialogue in the trailer just sounded one-to-one the original script.
Yeah, it was the original lines.
Doesn't James say a couple things? Did he say "I'm ready" in the original game? I don't remember that. I don't think he.
Yeah.
like he says, "I know what you are." I don't think he said that either. He says like, "I was weak, that's why I needed you." But
Yeah.
I mean, things like that I don't mind because whatever. And it also might not be in the final game. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And they might be trying to shore up some. I don't think the original game has clunky dialogue. I think the actors, just other than Maria, mostly have kind of clunky deliveries. So just, I mean, if they tweak some lines here and there, I don't think that that's a problem. I will say, and it's something we didn't mention before, but I just think it's really cool, so I'll mention it. A lot of people noticed that in the shot of James with the noose, you can see the imprint of where his ring would be on his hand,
Yeah,
on his finger.
I like that detail.
I like that detail, and a huge part of the reason I like it is it's a subtle storytelling thing. Is like, yes, on the surface, like, oh, he's taken his ring off because his wife died. But, if you think about it more, and especially if you already know the twist, ring imprints aren't going to last 3 years. That's a ring he took off 3 days ago.
You can see it in the mirror scene too. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
apparently it's on the wrong side, but I'm okay. Do you want Mary to actually be in the trunk?
Don't give in to fan theory shit, please.
Don't even. That's like one of those things I'm so tired of hearing about from fans. Like, is she in the trunk? Is she not? And
that's the last thing I'm worried about with this remake.
And also, don't clarify whether Eddie shot a coach or a player. Just like really pedantic bullshit that fans obsess over that doesn't fucking matter. Like that kind of like, who cares? Like, ugh.
The one thing I hope that they don't, or maybe do, solidify is, can they just, the whole thing that some people still think that the Silent Hill town is like that all the time, like it exists as a foggy place with monsters walking around. Like, please, no. There's another world. I would like if there's some
hint that the town is still
not even necessarily in the game. Let's just set that as a baseline in marketing. Just like Silent Hill has an other world. That's what it is. This town is normal otherwise, unless shit happens to the person.
Well, I can see them kind of touching on it if they, do something a little bit more with Laura.
I mean, doesn't Laura literally say that she, like, because James, what are you, blind or something? Like, I think it's pretty clear that she is not seeing what James is.
Yeah. That's a great thing about Laura is she's such, again, like, out of all the characters, I would say that's the one you need the least backstory on, because like there's so many little things about her that I love that like are so mysterious. Like, okay, say yes, I agree with what you're saying, CJ. Yes, Silent Hill, people live there. Like, it's still a place. It's not just an abandoned. It's not just an abandoned town. But what's interesting about that is, like, wouldn't people in the real world be like, why is this little girl running around the hospital by herself, Like, and she's not scared at all.
Well,
and
for that,
even,
I think... I was just gonna say, for that, I think she's just in like she's an innocent. She's like in a sub other world. Like it's probably just abandoned to her. Maybe she zips in and out, like she phases in and out when James is there.
I've kind of always been, and this is a controversial thing, I've always been kind of part of the I'm not sure Laura is real crowd. That particular Laura, but that's what's so good about the character, right? Like, there's so many questions and so much mysteries. Like, she can be real, maybe she's not, maybe I don't know. Like, you can go anywhere with it. So like stuff like that, like I don't need to see like some apparition picking her up and saying like, "What are you doing here, little girl?" or some bullshit like that.
It would be kind of a neat thing, and it doesn't even need to. I don't need this for Silent Hill 2 Remake, but in one of the other projects, it would be kind of neat to have like a BioShock Ghosts kind of moment where you think you're seeing ghosts, but it's actually just the veil being a little thin in places. That you're seeing the real world, kind of like what the movie does. The movie has moments where Chris can sense Rose because they're in the same place, but not the same world.
I always liked in that moment in Silent Hill 3 where like Heather just finds like a cigarette burning in an ashtray, and like clearly there was someone there at some point, or there still is,
Yeah.
But she's just not seeing it. It's not like that's the weird thing about the whole like it's only one world. Like, wouldn't wherever Heather lives, wouldn't there be like news stories about like, oh yeah, half the town just vanished? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no.
I mean, I think this remake has a lot of potential. We haven't seen a lot yet, or kind of. I'm hoping we'll get more videos. I don't know.
Game Awards is coming up, so
I'm excited to see what they do. And I'm hoping people will see it more like Remake than a horrible thing that's been done to Silent Hill 2. I'd like to see it expand on the awesomeness of the original game and not ruin it.
I will say, because since I'm the negative Nancy of the group, that what I do appreciate about the remake and all of this stuff basically that was announced is like it was really exciting to have like friends come to me and be like, I really kind of want to play this. Like, how do I start? Like, people think that wasn't a thing forever because like you can't fucking play these games. And again, that's the most exciting part for me. Like if this turns out to be shit, whatever. Yeah, like
it's like when the movie came out.
And I would say I would follow that up with, whether you think the remake looks bad, whether you're excited for it, no matter how you feel about any of this, don't let the Silent Hill community be what it was 10 years ago. Don't gatekeep. Don't yell at new fans for wanting to try something, especially with things like the HD collection. It's the only way to play these games easily. That, if it's their only option, it's their only option. Don't yell at new fans. Welcome them. It's just been us old people hanging out in forums where half the time people are screaming about, PT doesn't count, PT does count. Centralia. Like, I'm sick of these same 3 conversations over and over again.
Exactly.
Let's get this new blood in. Let's have cool new conversations. And also, and I cannot stress this enough, don't spoil it for them. Let them find out that James is a monster on his own.
That's going to be a tough one. I was thinking about that earlier. I'm not saying like you should spoil it for people, but like this game is 20 years old and like
I mean it's the problem. It's
don't listen to my podcast because we totally spoiled it.
After you've already listened to it.
I'm so excited because I've already seen, like, a friend of mine that's never played a Silent Hill game did fan art of James, and they're like, I want to hold. And for us it's like, oh no, don't. But for me, I'm like, yes, love him, be hurt.
Yeah, well, I'll put a spoiler warning in the beginning.
Yeah, it's I think that's going to be a tough one. Only in just because
highlight of the game.
Again, it's what Silent Hill's most famous for. Well, not most famous for, but it's like the biggest moment of the series. Basically, it's a very impactful game to like the medium as like storytelling within video games. Not Bloober Team's medium, but that'll be because I even said this earlier on Twitter. Like, especially with how spoiler culture is now. I would be careful if you're an old fan. Just like October said, like let people find out that
James is a piece of shit.
That James is a loving husband, and he only ever hugged his wife and said, "You're lovely," and then she died 3 years ago, and that's exactly what happens in this game.
Yeah, and I would say that's part of the reason that I like James being so emotional now, is he looks so miserable and so sad and so heartbroken. And I'm just imagining a new fan like my friend that saw him and immediately empathized with him and immediately like felt bad for him.
And then the betrayal.
Is the betrayal. And now and me knowing James, looking at him looking so miserable, I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to look like that. And I think that will work for a modern audience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is we should, let new fans have that experience of betrayal, and we should,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When it gets closer, or if I'm streaming it, I'm not gonna give it away. Yeah. I'll pretend I don't know that James is a piece of shit.
Just let these people get hurt. Isn't it more fun to watch them get hurt on stream?
It's it's always fun when people like seeing your friends or whatever react to something that you know is coming. So that's definitely the best part of all of this Silent Hill stuff is just for
the
me anyway.
New blood and new
like,
reactions.
Yeah, exactly. Like guys, you really want to go back to fucking talking about boilers for 10 years? Like, I don't. I don't. Not that. But yeah, it's. My last thoughts on the remake is I really wish fucking Konami would just put the original games up too.
Hell yes.
Yeah,
you don't
totally,
you don't even I said this but like on my Twitter, but like you don't even need to like fix because we know that they probably wouldn't fix the old PC port. Just put it up and we'll throw in the enhanced edition mods ourselves. Just let us buy it for fuck's sake. This drives me nutty.
Yeah, I would prefer 1 through 4 just as they were originally on PC and or consoles, preferably both.
Yeah, just give us the option. I think that's the most fair thing because, like, you know what? Because wouldn't it be cool? Like, say, you know, the Silent Hill 2 remake doesn't nail certain things, and look, the original's right there. You can go back and see what that one was like. Everyone always hyped it up. Now you can, you know, put up or shut up. Yeah, that's all I got.
Anybody, any last thoughts? So we can wrap it up.
I am also optimistic. I am hopeful. I don't really have any qualms with it because it's a remake. I have a PS2, so I can already do the play the original if I want to.
And
but I totally
you don't have to pay
understand.
like $150 for a copy of the game.
Now, I don't have the PC version, so I'm kind of out of luck on that one. But I totally get what Kyle's saying, and that it would placate a lot of us old people if the original were available, and for the benefit of the new players. I think one of the most perfect examples of a remake / remaster done right are the LucasArts adventure game remakes that have been coming out in the last 7-10 years, where they're literally built on top of the code, the same code as the original. So you have a button that you can switch on the fly from the remake to the original. Now that's probably a you know, a big ask for a remake like Silent Hill 2, but I think the solution is to just release the original as well.
Yeah,
and I agree.
Everybody wins.
I agree. Let's release the originals, please.
Yes.
Everybody's happy.
I'm optimistic about the game. So again, I think the Bloober team has the skills to do a very good game if, you know, they need better writers. And if they're sticking to the original script, I think this has the chance to be a really, really good remake. I think against everyone else here, I'm probably like the person that likes Bloober team games the most. And I do know that there are issues with them. I think a huge solution to those games that have those problems would just be better writing. You know, I had a slightly different interpretation of the medium, but I need to replay it to kind of just ascertain those recent comments and criticisms about it. But I think that with the right writers, they can make a really good game, and I'm excited. It looks fucking gorgeous. The series is renewed. People are excited about it again.
Silent Hill lives.
Yeah,
this
could
amazing.
be a good turning point.
Yeah,
this could be.
We got a new movie coming out. I can't believe it. I didn't think we'd get another movie. I think that was what was most surprising to me was we're getting a movie.
A little surprised that it's a Silent Hill 2 movie, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So this is all. It was all very exciting. The blue balls, I guess, were kind of worth it because we got a shit ton of stuff with more on the way. Apparently, like they were hinting, there's other games coming down the pipeline. So we are feasting. And
embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, none of it was blue box.
Nope, none of it was blue box.
Yeah, that again, even if the Silent Hill 2 remake is somehow like my worst fears realized, like at least the rumor mill shit is over. Oh my god, that was so exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're probably going to get more screenshots and other details leaked about those games because they haven't come out yet. They're not going to come out for a while. So it's a lot more to leak.
Yeah, our cup runneth over with Silent Hill stuff, so that's all I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited. Silent Hill isn't dead anymore.
This is what we
yeah.
wanted. It's new projects, it's new games. We have a remake of Silent Hill 2.
There's
People should
something
be
for
happy.
everyone. There's something for everyone, I think.
Yeah, Silent Hill F looks fucking awesome. I cannot wait for that.
Drop short message tomorrow on Halloween. God damn it. Where is it?
Yeah. So, is there anything you guys would like to plug before we end the podcast?
You go ahead.
Well, you can always go to ReliantHorror.com for daily horror game news, reviews, previews, and more. And also, if you want to check it out, I'm doing a comic book adaptation of George A. Romero's unproduced Resident Evil film script. You can find that over on my Twitter at Sissel the Cat. We are on page 85 now. We're really getting into the meat of it. It's super fun.
I just put new stuff up on SilentHillCommunity.com. The old forums are back up. And you can also check out Silent Hill, but it's done in the Latin language tonight at my Ancient Room with Amy channel with English subtitles.
Okay.
I recently went back freelance, so most people probably recognize me from USA Today, but I'm going to be there and a bunch of other places soon. But I don't have anything particular to plug. I guess you can follow me on Twitter, even though that's turning into a hell platform. At Levito, at LAVIT0 on Twitter, and I'll probably be talking about I don't know, the new Resident Evil DLC is pretty damn good. There,
I'm excited to try. I re-download Village, and I'm planning to start it. Next week.
You'll like it. It's anyone that likes horror games should play that DLC because it was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a horror game.
Cool.
It is shocking to me that Resident Evil 8 somehow has 2 of the top 5 scariest things to ever happen in a Resident Evil game.
There was a part I played through it in one sitting last night, and I was like, my heart was racing. It was like legit, really scary.
William, did you have anything you wanted to plug?
Yeah, so I recently did a couple of interviews on the original 2 Fear Effect games for the PlayStation 1. The first one is with the writer and director of the first game, John Zerplatten. That's a great interview. And I also recently did another interview with the lead character artist who worked on both Fear Effect 1 and 2. So you can check those out on Reliant Horror. And I've also done a couple reviews for CG Magazine. One of them is for Terrifier 2, which I love.
Nice. That was a fun movie.
All I know about it is it's gross and people fainted and never threw
You would
up.
die. You would die.
Yeah, it's not a movie for Whitney. Gore. For me, I'm streaming horror games year round to raise money for Extra Life. I stream Monday through Thursday. Guys, pop in, look up Camiro on Twitch. I'll probably be playing a horror game at some point. My goal this year is 10K. We're not close to that yet, but I'm on my way. I'll probably play through Silent Hill 2 again at some point before the year's up. So I guess look forward to that.
I don't have anything creative to plug, but I do PR for Dread XP, and they make a lot of horror games. They're a horror games publisher. So check out their games if you're interested. And yeah, I do a lot of the PR for that. So hopefully some of my messaging comes through and some silly stuff that goes out.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but last thing, if you're a survival horror fan, you should absolutely play Signalis.
I heard
absolutely, it's incredible. Anyways,
I just bought it on Play Asia, so it's being imported from Japan as we speak.
Is it on Steam?
It's on Steam, and there's a physical version for PS4 and Switch.
Yeah, especially if you're an old school Silent Hill Resident Evil fan, you absolutely need to play it.
Okay. Well, that should do it for this episode. I'm sure we'll probably do another one when there's more to discuss, more trailers, info. We'll come back together and pick it apart and complain or gush about what we've seen yet again. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And yay, Silent Hill's back!
Yay!
Woo! All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.